SA Rugby CEO Brian Oberholzer has offered the clearest indication yet of who might eventually replace Rassie Erasmus as Springboks head coach, and the successor may already be inside the national setup. Erasmus recently penned a contract extension that will keep him involved with the Springboks through the 2031 Rugby World Cup in the United States. By then, the 2019 World Cup winning coach will have spent 13 years embedded in the national structures, either as head coach or director of rugby. Historically, SA Rugby followed a 4-year coaching style, allowing mentors such as Jake White, Peter de Villiers, and Yannick Meyer to build towards a single World Cup before handing the baton to the next coach. But Oberholzer says that strategy is no longer the preferred route. Speaking during an interview on SABC, the SABC rugby boss confirmed that the organization is shifting towards long-term continuity and rewarding coaches who consistently deliver results, and said we are moving away from a cycle of coaches coaching for one World Cup. If it's working and the coach is successful, we want to keep him or her on to the next phase. He added that succession planning will now focus heavily on developing future head coaches from within existing structures, a blueprint first applied in 2020 when Jacques Nennebeer succeeded Erasmus after serving his assistant. The approach will extend across all national programs, including the Springbok Women, the Junior Boks, and the Blitzboks. He said, "We are quite stable now for our men's and women's teams. The women are contracted to 2029, the men until 2031. That gives us ample opportunity to bring the next coach through so that when these coaches step down, we have the right people ready to take over." Oberholzer's comments strongly suggest that Erasmus's successor may already be working alongside him. Long-serving assistants Mzondile Stick and Dion Davids, both part of the Springbok coaching setup since 2018, appear to be front runners. South Africa has never appointed a foreign head coach, which makes external candidates such as Jerry Flandre, Felix Jones, or Tony Brown unlikely options to lead the team post-2031. Another name quietly rising in the SA Rugby coaching ranks is Dwayne Vermeulen. The recent retired Springbok legend transitioned almost immediately into the national coaching structures and is highly regarded internally. Despite lacking head coaching experience, he may well be in line for grooming as the long-term successor. With key coaching figures locked in until the end of the decade, SA Rugby believes it has the time and stability needed to prepare the next generation of leaders, ensuring that the Springboks can maintain continuity, culture, and success long after Erasmus eventually steps aside. On the other hand, Springbok lock Eben Nisbet has broken his silence following his disciplinary hearing over the red card he received against Wales, offering an explanation for the incident while still accepting full responsibility. Elspeth was banned for 12 weeks after being red-carded for eye-gouging Wales flank Alex Mann in the final moments of the Springboks' 73-0 win in Cardiff in the last autumn series test. In a heartfelt Instagram post, Eben made it clear that he was not claiming innocence but felt compelled to apologize to the South African public and explain his actions. He also expressed regret at the example his behavior could have set for young players. He posted a series of videos and wrote, "Hey everyone, I've been quiet, but now that my hearing is done, I think I owe everyone an explanation. First of all, this is not a post to show that I was not guilty. I accept guilt. I made a mistake and I'm willing to serve a suspension which I deserve. I don't want young kids who look up to the Springboks to think that it's okay to eye-gog someone, because it's not. But unfortunately mistakes happen and I made a big one for which I'm sorry. But I'd like to answer the question, why did you do such a thing? It was a mistake caused by my reaction and other factors that played a role." Slide 1. The scuffle was basically over when Wales struck me with an open hand to my chin or neck area. You can see me looking at the assistant referee and waiting for a reaction from him. It happened fast and it's understandable that he didn't see it. Without reacting yet, I got another pull on my jersey before I go in with the similar type of action. Slide 2, you can clearly see my first point of contact is against his shoulder with an open hand, just like he did, except he got me on the chin. Another thing worth mentioning, when he struck me, I was standing still with not a lot of movement or players trying to get involved. When I went to the same open hand towards his shoulder, you'll see two Welsh players changing the dynamic of the entire picture, as well as one of my teammates pulling Wales around his neck away from my hand and where my force is going. Slide 3, another camera angle. So why did I post this? To try and show people how everything happened and that it was never intentional. I would never do something like this on purpose. I know what the consequences will be after playing rugby for a few years. Thanks to everyone that stood by me and thought the best of me. I'm sorry for letting you and the game down. That was my first red card since I started playing. I wanted to be my last. To the people that were angry and upset with my actions, I understand because it didn't look good on the slow motion replay, and hopefully you've got a bit more context now. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more sports news.